Here we are, guys. Thank you for joining us once again. We're jumping straight into our new project car that we've got. And don't worry, we will go over the highlights of our Lexus that we repaired as well, because that has sold now. We will go over that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But here it is, 2017 Kia Sportage 1.6 litre petrol turbo manual. So it's from the bodywork, it looks all okay actually, but it's clearly taken a massive whack on the suspension. Just looking at the passenger side front and the driver's side rear, there's some big damage here. But all in all, very nice car. Can't wait to get up and running and drive it around a bit myself as well. Got a lovely full leather interior. It's very clean on the inside of this car at the moment. Doesn't look like any issue at all. So like I said, can't wait to get it done. There is a little crack in the windscreen as well. I'm not sure what we're going to do about that quite yet, but you guys are going to come along with me and see what happens. So yeah, just looking at the back of this car, you can see it's clearly taken a massive whack and pushed everything out. We're going to take a closer look at everything that needs to be replaced in this car very shortly, and then we're going to start adding our bits up and figuring out what parts we're going to need to get this all done. So here we are, starting with the front passenger side. Going to get this wheel off, or what remains of it anyway, just so we can start assessing all the damage and see what parts we're going to need. And off comes the wheel, one piece of it anyway. So yeah, it's clearly had a massive smack because the wheel is split right into two pieces, and so is the disc brake, as you can see there. Just looking at the amount of wheel weights on that wheel, just to let you know guys, that is not acceptable amount of wheel weights, and especially just sticking them layered on top of the other. So balance your wheels properly guys, please. We're just going to try and get this tyre off that's sort of been wedged up in the wheel arch and around the disc, which took way longer than it needed to. We can remove the other piece of the wheel. Just looking here, there's a lot of mess made from the CV joint, absolutely blowing itself to pieces. It hasn't ripped it out of the gearbox, but it's made a hell of a lot of mess in there. Now just looking at everything else we've got bolted here, obviously there's a big bit of damage to the disc brake, so it will need a front set of piston pads ideally. They are a bit lipped on the other side as well. We've got the caliper and carrier off. Just looking at the rest of the suspension here, you can't see a lot of damage. We've got a bent lower arm that is visible, but just for safety, we want to replace this whole corner, so the strut, drop link, drive shaft, track rod end, hub, track rod inner as well. Just coming to the rear of the car now and assessing a bit of the damage. So this did have brand new disc and pads in the rear already. Again, looking at a lot of our arms, they seem to be okay, apart from this one, which is our toe arm just there. Again, a lot of the damage you can't see if it's only a sort of minor bend in an arm. So for safety, we're going to replace the whole corner of this suspension. So every arm, hub, we're going to replace. Just having a little further look on the underside of the car as well, I did find more damage that you could see. I was actually to the subframe, which I didn't suspect in my initial look. You can see how twisted the whole subframe is from the whack it's taken in the back there. It is going to need a whole subframe, and we're going to replace the whole corner of suspension on that side. One thing I do want to check as well, after we've charged the battery up a little bit, that this vehicle actually runs with no issues. And luckily, as soon as we turn the beacon of the parking sensors off, we do press our start button, everything comes to life, and the car does power on. Thank God for that. That is one big problem you don't have to worry about. The vehicle actually runs and drives, so it's just a case of doing the suspension work, and then fingers crossed it will be nice and straightforward. Here we are, we got a few boxes in the post. Next day now, we're gonna start unboxing a few bits very shortly. Just in these boxes, we've got the rear suspension, so we've got the hub just in here, along with a few other components as well. And then in our other box, we should have the rest of the rear suspension. So we'll have our shock absorber and all the necessary arms to attach the hub to the body of the car and subframe as well. Just round the front of my house, we've got more bits that have come as well. We've got a front wheel, because our wheel was literally cracked in two. So far, all these parts have been very reasonably priced. I seem to find them quite cheap on eBay and other areas as well. But don't worry, stick around to the end, because I will go over the cost of every single part bought on this car, as well as the cost of the car, so we can see if we're able to make a profit when the vehicle eventually sells. We've got a new lower arm. We ordered a whole front corner suspension as well. We've got the lower arm, front strut, hub, and we did get a brand new track rod, outer and inner as well. So here we've got our whole suspension strut and hub all bolted together for the passenger side front of the vehicle. All looks good. We've also got a drive shaft because the CV joint on that was split. And here we've got our inner and outer track rod and the rear subframe that's come on with colour. Here we are, we're going to go over these bits very quickly, so sorry there's not too much detail in this video. We've already unbolted our whole front suspension strut assembly and hub and everything, so we're putting on our track rods end and inner. We're going to chuck in our lower arm here as well, give it a little bit of a love tap in. Noah's here to give me a helping hand, passing me tools and cleaning my hands off. We're just going to try putting the bolt back through for this lower arm. Quick break for some chop. Got to keep him entertained as well, bless him. We're just bolting the lower arm in now, and then we'll move on to getting the rest of the strut in, which we are going to sort of skip over fairly quickly. So we've got all that bolted in, so we've got the 3 bolts in the top holding it all to the top of the suspension strap tower. And we do have the drive shaft in, however I did figure out this drive shaft was slightly different, although the spline number and the length and everything is the same. The outer CV joint is a slightly smaller, it's not as thick. I figured out this was due to it being for a non-turbo petrol engine, so the turbo variants have thicker outer CV joints. We did manage to drive and go and pick one of them up, the correct bit. We've got all that fitted, front's all bolted up now. Again, sorry to gloss over things pretty quickly, but we want to bunch this all into one video so you can see it all done. We're moving on to the rear now. I'm just trying to get off this handbrake cable, which is held on by this absolutely ridiculous Phillips head screw that goes through, so you can't pull off the handbrake cable. So this took up a lot of time as well, and it did require a blowtorch to get it off, but we did eventually get it off. So because we got brand new bits and pads as well, we're gonna take the caliper and pads off of our current setup, and we're going to put that on the new non-bent hub and suspension arms as well. Again, we've got the subframe disconnected from the one side. We've got all our hub assembly and suspension corner out of this side, and we did want to try and leave the other side all up. So we've just disconnected it from the inside where it bolts to the subframe, and then leaving out everything else bolted up. And then just undoing the subframe bolts, the main four, after lowering the exhaust ever so slightly as well, we did manage to just about have enough room to wiggle that subframe out. It did take a lot of time and fiddling around to be able to maneuver this out of the car, and to do it with the opposite side suspension all sort of still in the car as well, rather than unbolting the whole corner. It is still attached to the body of the car. Here we are, just about got it out, and again we're going to move on very quickly, and we're going to bolt up this new subframe very quickly. It's all going to go in pretty simply, but again, just looking at it, you can see where it's all twisted and bent on the one side. We're going to transfer over a few bits we need to, and then quickly get everything bolted back together on the side of the car, so we can get it sitting on the floor, get it driving, before we need to go and get it aligned as well. We've got a lot of mess, a lot of broken bits sitting around, but we have got the wheel back on, and you can see just from looking at it that it's a hell of a lot straighter than it did originally. Although it's not aligned yet, I have just done it with my eye essentially, to get it as close to where it needs to be. Obviously we've got a perfectly spinning wheel that at least spins straight, and hopefully will physically be able to drive now. We took it for a quick test drive. Yes, the tracking and alignment is very out, but we've had the whole front suspension off, we've had the whole rear suspension off. What do you expect? So we had a quick check over at the garage, just to make sure everything was bolted up as it should be, so I was happy with that. Then we took it for an alignment and got it all checked out. So very quickly going over all the costs with this Kia Sportage. With fees, we paid £2,675 for the Kia Sportage on Copart. We spent £300 getting it delivered as well. Coming to the front suspension, we had the front suspension strut and hub. We paid £100 for from eBay. Lower arm was £35. Inner track rod was £14. Outer track rod was £18, both new from eBay. We had the drive shaft, second hand from eBay, £33. However, it was the wrong one, so we had to go and get another one, which cost another £40. Brand new caliper sliding pin kit was £12. Full genuine alloy wheel was £95 with the tyre. We had to buy front discs and pads as one was cracked, so we done the whole lot. That was £84 from Euro Car Parts. Coming to the rear of the vehicle, the full suspension assembly for the one side, we paid £75 for. That included the suspension strut, the hub, the trailing arm, absolutely everything. We paid £140 for a rear subframe. And lastly, we paid £150 for a 12-volt auxiliary battery. And lastly, a full four-wheel alignment I paid £85 for. That totaled £881 spent on parts. Adding this with the vehicle cost and delivery, our total spend is at £3,856. Alright, that wraps up the cost breakdown for my latest Copart flip. I hope this gave you a clear picture of exactly what goes into a project like this. Thanks for sticking around and watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you can see the big moment when we sell the car and find out if we actually make a profit on it. And trust me, you'll want to stick around. We've just picked up 2 more projects that I can't wait to share with you. So we'll see you in the next one.